Fluid's leaking?
What's leaking? That's cool. Oh, you're... Yeah, we're stuck out here. Hold on, Jay. You're getting free this time. Alright, it's fine. I'll get straight. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Yeah! We got it! We got it! Yeah, we got it! It's not an adventure.
Nothing will keep these explorers down.
Okay, we're stuck out here in the Jeep. We're trying to... What's leaking?
That's cooling.
Oh, your engine coolant busted too. You got rust in there. Keep coming out. We'll have to go to the store and get you some if it cools off.
Yeah, I got some. That's the...
Where's it leaking?
Right there.
The reservoir?
Yeah.
What's leaking at a heater hose? No, right there.
Can't see what.
It's leaking at the water heater. Right here.
Oh, look, it broke.
Yeah, but here, just take this one off and put it here for now.
This one will... Oh, yeah, because this is just a return for when it's overheated.
Take this off and hook it right here. And it'll bypass.
I said, no, we'll take that one off and hook it right here.
Yeah, just hook it right there and you get bypass this for now. Until you can fix it.
Yeah, that should be alright.
This is your over. When it gets too hot, it goes in here.
Yeah.
Well, you probably dumped a lot of fluid.
Hey everybody, Florida Trailblazer out here deep in the forest, and they're over there working on Jungle Jay's Jeep, trying to get that back up and running. But shortly we're going to venture off into the woods here, discover some amazing places out here in the wilderness. It's already been quite the adventure. All right, quite the adventure already today. We're not even hiking. We've been driving in the Jeep, the Jungle Jay, and we got stuck out here. And we got pretty muddy.
Yeah.
They're behind us fixing the Jeep right now so we can get out of here later, but we're going to journey into the woods shortly. What do you think so far?
It's been pretty wacky. As
got muddy.
As Jay says, or as you say, if you don't get money, you didn't have an adventure.
That's
well,
right.
We're having a heck of an adventure out here.
That's true.
We're all muddy out here.
Yeah, we were stuck.
Right there.
Right there behind us, you can see. And your vehicle just sinks down in that mud when you drive in there.
And then we
Even with this Jeep, this
dune buggy.
it's 4-wheel drive. You got stuck in there.
What you got to do is you got to put sticks under the wheels and then you got to back it out.
Yeah, we were pushing it and got it out and actually overheated. So now we're repairing it. But yeah, this forest road here that we're on is actually, I think, part of an old logging tram or something like that. I'm not sure if it's like a railroad grade or anything like that, but it's like a tram. It actually leads ahead of us up a ways towards a creek. So pretty amazing area, a lot of beautiful wilderness and history. Yes. All right, Jeep is repaired for now. We have it parked off in the woods back there. We're gonna venture into the wilderness, discover some amazing history, and see what we can get into today, right, Jay?
That's it. That's exactly it.
Already getting us muddy.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But I'm glad you guys were here. You really helped out. I may not have been able to get out by myself, but then again, the extra 1,000 pounds that was in there didn't help either. But it's all good because that extra 1,000 pounds was able to get me back out, and I appreciate it, guys. That was awesome. But that's what it really been.
We're fat? Is that what you're saying?
He's saying y'all. I'm a twig.
No, but that's what it's all about. This is like real adventure, and when you do four-wheeling like that, you've got to be prepared for those kind of things. So usually you go with 2 vehicles. We dropped the other vehicle back. We couldn't make it through, so I pushed it a little too hard this time, and But
It was smoking, steaming.
yeah, that was all the coolant and spraying out all over the manifold and everything, all over the motor. So you can always tell it's coolant because it smells like syrup when it's cooking. Okay, yeah, this is family to the magnolia.
Yeah, where there's loblolly bay and then there's the red bay.
Yeah.
This looks like a loblolly bay. The leaves are bigger. And the red bay's got smaller leaves.
Following this old tram towards the creek. Following this old tram out here through the woods towards this creek area. Such a beautiful place. A lot of history out here too. Long ago there was logging operations in these areas, and long before that Native American Indians inhabited these areas. Lived, hunted, and thrived all throughout this wilderness along these creeks. Made it to this area along the creek here. Followed this old tram. Was a bridge out here at one time, and there's a small island in the middle of the creek. I've been on that before and saw old bridge pilings. It's a beautiful area, place of history. Long before the logging industry was out here, you had Native American Indians that lived along this creek area. Multiple layers of history. You can just sense it out here. You guys enjoying it so far?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a little guilty though holding everybody up with that Jeep problem, but
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, well,
it's all part of the adventure. Everything happens for a reason out here.
Yeah.
Part of the experience.
it's a good team to help me get out, and that's awesome.
Yeah. It's great to be out here exploring now. You know, so that's for sure.
Finally.
Yeah, we were at the Jeep for a while, so we can get into the woods. Out here making some videos. Yeah, very interesting creek area here, and it connects into some other swamps and beautiful wilderness areas. We're gonna follow it for as far as we can, see what we can discover out here.
Getting out here, man.
Enjoying this view along the creek, actually.
Mm-hmm. It's a good time to take a little bit of a break, get some air.
I bet you sit here for a while, you will see some amazing wildlife.
Yeah.
Just be quiet and
Yeah.
take it all in. So we're out here just observing some of these beautiful trees, and I saw this really large pine tree behind us, and I thought it was a cypress tree at first, how tall it goes up, but you're saying it's the largest pine tree in Florida, right?
It's
species?
it's actually the largest pine tree, I believe, in the southeast, even eastern United States, called the loblolly pine.
They're pretty big out here. I'm seeing some big ones out here in the woods. And we were talking about the turpentine industry, and they would extract the sap from the pine trees to make turpentine. What was the best trees?
Well, they use slash pine and longleaf pine.
But these particular pine trees, they wouldn't use.
Well, I don't know the reason for that, but the pond pine, sand pine, and loblolly pine they didn't use. They used the slash pine and the longleaf pine. Florida basically has 5 species of pine in central Florida. You have up North Florida, you also have shortleaf pine.
Amazing. I didn't realize that all the different pine. I mean, I see them all the
Well,
time.
there's more than 5 because you have a loblolly pine, you got a longleaf pine, you got a slash pine, a pond pine, and sand pine. But there's several varieties of sand pine and slash pine. And there's one called a Zonderegger pine. It's a cross between a loblolly and a longleaf pine.
And
Because they pollinate at the same time period, so they crossbreed.
we're out here in the middle of the swamps, and you usually see a lot of cypress trees, but these pine trees grow out in the water areas where the swamps are.
Well, they can grow in dry land too,
Okay.
but mainly they're in the hardwood hammocks.
During my explorations and our ventures together, we see all these pine trees, and it's fascinating to learn about the different species of them, because when you're out here in the woods, it can be hard to tell them apart sometimes, right?
Well, the loblolly and longleaf pine can actually pond pine and loblolly pine can look very similar,
Yeah.
but the loblolly pines can get really massive.
I've seen some big ones.
Yeah,
And I always think those would be great for turpentine, for sap.
but they don't use it.
Yeah.
But the longleaf pine and the slash pine are hard to tell apart.
Incredible, man. So hopefully we can see some more trees like in this area that are unique. And last time I was out here with Jungle Jay, he brought his flute. You were playing it in the woods here. It was so beautiful. And I remember you telling me a story about the flute, how it was made. You said the Native Americans or an Indian, something like that.
Oh yeah, I told the story of the legend of the flute was the woodpecker created it.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, because we heard that pileated woodpecker in the tree, and that kind of set me off on that little tangent about the story. And so kind of
Okay, and you were saying an Indian heard the sound of the wind coming through the tree where the woodpecker
Yeah.
had created those holes. And he could tell the difference in the pitch of the sound, right?
yeah, I guess.
And
yeah.
that's how the flute was created. What do you think?
What do I think?
mean, I think there's probably a grain of truth to that, to those legends. But when it all boils down to, it's like nobody's talking to animals and having conversations. And,
Yeah, I just thought it was a fascinating story you told me about that. And
yeah, that's the
Well, I
legend
mean,
of it.
they're meant to be. They're metaphoric. They're meant to be. What good is a story if it's just dry and has no what do you call it? Creativity to it.
Sure.
I mean, it'd be boring. Who
You
wants to
have
talk
to
about our
embellish and
daily
you have
lives?
to
I sure
romanticize
do.
stories in order for them to be any good in the long run. So, I mean, like most stories and most movies would be really dull if they didn't romanticize them.
we're in this area here. Could be part of an old Indian mound, a shell midden. We're not sure, but what do you think?
Well,
You're
it could be part of an Indian mound. It could be a burial site, or it could just be from road when they graded the road and put the dirt over.
Well, I saw a lot of shells in the area.
But you'd have to do archaeological excavation
Yeah.
to really determine.
Well,
100%.
they have done those out in these areas. That's how I know
Yeah.
that we're close to some areas like that. But not too far from where we're standing, I saw some shells on the pathway, and that's why I thought this could be a midden. And you can see where it's elevated up, kind of above the surrounding woods and swamps behind us.
We'll have to follow it back in there when
Yeah.
we get back. Yeah,
What kind of plant is this?
I got him confused.
What kind of plant is it?
Lyota, he says.
Lyona.
Lyona?
Yeah.
I'm running into it here. So
It's
this is Lyona plant?
If I remember correctly, yeah. And this is a wax myrtle here. Common tree in Florida.
A lot of fallen trees out here.
Or shiny blueberry.
So we're seeing a lot of blueberries trees.
There's shiny blueberry. It's not a regular blueberry. It's called shiny blueberry. It's got a smaller leaf than a blueberry bush does. And the fruit is smaller. But they taste better. They're black too.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really, really, really
Some
good.
people call it, it's actually a type of huckleberry, if you want to be honest.
Can we eat them now, or are they not in season?
There's none ripe, yeah. Here's a huckleberry. Well, actually,
I've seen 'em
this is
around,
the lion.
Exactly what we're exploring, and we don't want to step on something like this, so we got to be really careful. So you got to just pay attention. And this guy right here, man, he's following. Let me get closer. That rattle, guys. That's a pretty big snake.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest ones I've seen as far as diamondbacks.
Yeah, you don't see them as much as like that.
So
big
this
around.
this one here we saw on the mound. How big you think it is?
That was 5 foot.
5 foot.
Yeah, that was a 5 foot.
It was also very thick. Right?
It was very
yeah,
thick,
very
yeah.
thick, and
That
definitely
was very
eats-
frightening too, because
Yeah.
I'm backing away, and then it went shh like that, and it coiled up, but it didn't rattle, and that made me really nervous, because usually when you come out here and you do come across one, but that
Yeah.
one was real calm. Real
we kept
cool.
our distance It's great to see them out here, but you have to be very careful.
Oh man, that would yeah.
And that's the first one I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
I've actually seen more pygmy snakes lately and racer snakes and things like that, but that's the first diamondback in probably over a year.
Yeah,
since I've seen
Yeah,
one.
I'm shaking.
Oakley.
I'm all, woo! I get my blood get pumping when I see
Oakley,
them.
talk to me. When's the last time you saw one, or is this the first time you saw one?
This is the first time I've ever seen a diamondback out here.
Wow, first time seeing a diamondback. Pretty cool. Huh?
Wow. Yeah, and you saw a good one too, man. You saw a lot of times the ones that we do come across are real small, like 12, 18 inches long, and this guy gets to see a 5-foot rattlesnake. That's awesome.
Pretty cool, and
Yeah.
it's right here on this Indian mound that we're exploring.
Yeah. Usually we just run into, I've only ever really run into pygmy rattlesnakes. We've seen one or two other species, but it's almost always pygmies. That's the first time I've ever seen a diamondback.
Well, let's continue on exploring this mound.
Yeah. Now.
You can see the shape of the mound here, and it's very dense back here in the woods where this mound is. See the mound right there. Exploring on this mound, it's pretty big, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's pretty long too.
Yeah, and it's got an interesting shape, like a horseshoe shape to it. Almost like a ring formation. And you can see a lot of limestone and shells all in this area here. Walk down here, you can see behind me.
On these little cliff edges of the pole parts.
Yeah. So we're here on this mound. We're seeing a lot of shells, layers of them. They've been out here for quite some time. Natives deposited them along with other debris. Limestone pieces all around, and you were saying that if you're lucky you can see a lot of pottery fragments on mounds like this.
Yeah, when you're out here hiking, you come across one of these Indian mounds, one of these shell mounds. Sometimes you can, if you look around, you can see pottery fragments.
Interesting.
And, if you're lucky, you can probably even find a arrowhead.
And it's important to note, when you see this stuff, it's on the surface of the mound, and we leave it undisturbed. And it's important to help preserve the history in these places for future generations to experience and learn about as well. So
scientists can, or geologists can come out here and study it. And
yeah, it's a fascinating place. I mean, this area has been inhabited for thousands of years. I mean, look at the mound here. It continues on into the woods. Okay, we're out here by these swamps next to the mound, and I imagine the water flowed up in here right up on this mound. It's already kind of wet, but it gets much deeper different times of year during the rainy season. And it's wet here now, but it's considerably dry considering.
Well, you can actually enjoy sitting out here right now because you're not being plagued by
It's
mosquitoes.
true, yeah, it's nice and peaceful. And just behind us is the mound. And it's so dense back in there, it's really hard to see the shape of the mound from this perspective. But you imagine the natives lived right here along this, or
Well, there's no telling what the mound was used for.
it's a shell midden. So I saw shells all on the midden.
Yeah, it could have been just a trash heap. It could have been a shell mound / burial mound. It could have been used for a charnel house.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of shells on the mound, and I explore it. And when you come out here into these areas, I don't see any shells in the mud and stuff like that.
It could have been used also for living quarters after it was built up.
Yeah, oftentimes these mounds have various purposes.
Well, some of these areas they had winter in villages. Sometimes they'd get away from the coastline and go deeper because of the cold wind coming off the ocean. And then other times they would have tiny little camps where they hunted or fished for certain times of the year. So you never really know if the mound was associated with a village per se.
What's interesting is the river is quite a ways from us, straight ahead through the swamps where we're sitting here, and the mound is behind us. You would think they had built the mound closer to the river, but you see it's
they could
all...
have just used the creek system to come in.
Yeah, but
There's-
also back during those times, it could have been different terrain. The water levels could have been
Yeah.
higher, right?
Well, yeah, it could have been a seasonal thing.
Okay, yeah.
There's no way of knowing.
Very interesting. Layers
it-
of history out here in the woods that we're seeing today.
Don't know exactly which tribe lived here, but I know the Ocala Indians
Yeah.
lived along the Withlacoochee River, but later migrated, I think, north into this area here. But the Ocala Indians are the ones that the DeSoto expedition came in contact with along the
During the 1500s?
yeah, along the in 1539 along the Withlacoochee River. I think it's the Withlacoochee River, and then they migrated later to the Ocklawaha River.
Yeah, up towards these areas. Very fascinating. We made it to this area where a creek is. And the trail that we're following sort of dead end here, right? We got to follow the area around the creek if we want to bypass the area, it seems like.
Waiting on another diamondback.
Yeah.
We're hoping to run into a cane break.
Yeah.
And you were...
Well, anything will do. I'm sorry, what?
Well, yeah, we've been seeing a lot of the wildlife, the snakes, but also some interesting history. We saw that mound not too far from here, and you were saying on the map you might have seen some other mounds possibly in the area, so who knows what else
It's not necessarily an Indian mound, it's just marked on a topographical map as being a raised area, which could be either natural or it could be man-made.
That's true. The only way to really know is to get out there and explore the areas and to see what you can discover, but sometimes it's flooded out and it's hard to get to some of the areas we're seeing on the map.
It just blows my mind that there once was a significant indigenous population, and that population went into extinction with only a few remnants of the Appalachian Indians that are alive today. The rest of them are all extinct. So it's really mind-blowing. Like the Indians of the Mayan Indians are still alive, and they live in Guatemala still to this day. But these Indians are completely extinct with the exception of a few northern Appalachia Indians.
As we travel through the swamps out here, we're walking in their footsteps. People of the past, what's in these areas. It's truly amazing. It's magical being out here.
And then these Indians didn't do a lot of farming. I mean, they did some farming, but they didn't rely so heavily on corn. So they literally had to gather their food from the river and go hunting.
Yeah, there's a river and creek by here, so they have plenty of water sources.
And they had they ate a lot of different local plants, but they did a lot of hunting, and then they ate the shellfish.
Are some of the plants that we're seeing today and you're pointing out to us, are some of those plants, were they there at that time?
Of course, the only ones that weren't were the introduced species, which like the Brazilian pepper and plants such as that. So a lot of these other plants have been here from the beginning.
Look at that down
They
there.
were here before the Indians, they were here after the Indians, they were here before us, and they'll be here after us.
Down that way, the creek goes that direction, but also seems to split off right there.
Yeah, it's I'm sure there's springs in it that are feeding it.
I can't tell if that's like an island right there or just an area where it splits.
Looks like
Can you eat them?
It rolled right out of my finger.
you can eat the pig nut and the mocker nut. Actually, it looks more like a pig nut now that I got a bigger one.
Is it pig hickory?
Pig nut or a mocker nut. Looks like a pig nut.
Are they good?
You tell by the leaves, you can see the tree. Yeah, they're good. They're hickory nuts, like a walnut.
It's hard to get it open, huh?
The ones that aren't good are the bitter nut pecans.
Get some of this automotive juice.
There we go.
Let's see what we can
That's
do.
the husk. You gotta take the husk to get to the actual.
Yeah.
They get bigger than that. You can get them like this big around. The mocker nut. It's decayed.
Yeah. Let's take a look inside anyway.
Here's one right here. It's already open.
Yeah, there you go.
But you can't see that one's all eaten up.
Eat it.
Can't get to it.
It's all rotten. It's gone.
There's nothing in there. It's all husk. It's all shell.
It's rotten. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like if you like walnuts, you like hickory nuts.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
So we'll probably find some more. We look around a bit.
Found this brick. So you're saying it's part of a road?
Well, it's an old road paver. You know, like they used to put the brick pavers in.
Yeah. Well, why is it way out here in the woods?
I don't know. What I'm seeing now, just the loggers are in here. See that big cypress in the back to cut down, and there's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the one I was pointing at.
There's stumps there, stump there. Loggers are in here.
Seeing a lot of stumps out here. Big cypress stumps.
Yeah, there's a big one over there.
How long do you think this tree has been laying on the ground like this?
At least a couple of years. This one? I have a clue.
This way. Made it back to the Jeep. What an adventure today.
Yeah.
Started right in this area near here, getting stuck out here in the mud. And
That was awesome.
yeah.
Where'd you get the growler?
Bought it.
With your name on it?
Well, I used to work for a company that lasered that. So, being a designer, I had the graphics all ready to go, and they lasered it up for me. So, but yeah, eventually, I want to have these on Jungle J Adventures, product line. So
I need to get some Florida Trailblazer ones.
yeah,
And we need to make
if
some
you-
21st century expeditionist ones as well.
And if you put your Surgeon General warning on it, you can go to your favorite brew pub and they'll fill it up for you.